My name is Tessa Cole. I'm 28, and last Sunday, I realized something that broke me in a way I didn't even know was possible. I drove almost 5 hours to my dad's house. 5 hours. No music, no podcasts, just me, the road, and that same stupid hope I always carry with me. Maybe this time would be different. Yeah, I know. Dumb, right? I pulled into the driveway around 3:57 p.m. I remember because I checked the clock like it mattered, like being on time would somehow make me matter more. My brother's truck was already there. Of course it was. Tyler always gets there early. Tyler always gets everything right. I grabbed my bag, barely stepped inside, and before I could even breathe, "Tessa, good, you're here. Go help in the kitchen." No hey, no how was the drive, nothing. Just instructions. Same old story. I dropped my bag by the stairs, walked into the kitchen, and there it was, the setup. The same setup every single time. Dad arranging drinks like he's hosting the Super Bowl, Tyler laughing in the living room like he owns the place, and me? I'm already at the sink. I didn't even argue. I didn't say a word. Because honestly, what's the point? Words don't land in that house. At least, not mine. You gotta understand something about my family. My dad, Robert Cole, small-town legend, high school baseball coach for 25 years. People still talk about him like he's some kind of hero. And Tyler? Oh, Tyler's the golden boy. 33 years old, corporate job, makes good money, shakes hands, closes deals, all that stuff Dad eats up like it's gospel. And me? I'm just there. Or at least I was. Anyway, I'm in the kitchen slicing vegetables, setting plates, doing my usual thing. Basically running the whole dinner behind the scenes. Tyler walks in, grabs a drink, leans against the counter. "You drove today?" he asks. "Yeah." "That's rough." That's it. No thanks for coming, no need help, nothing. Just surface-level talk. I look at him and say, "You could help, you know." He shrugs. Actually shrugs. Dad wants it a certain way. And that right there, that sentence, that's been the excuse my whole life. Guests start showing up around 5:30. Neighbors, family friends, people who knew my mom before she passed. And then Tyler brings her in, his girlfriend, Madison. She walks in smiling, laughing at something he says, holding a bottle of wine like she belongs here already. And she looks kind, like genuinely kind. The kind of person who says thank you to waiters and actually means it. Dad goes full charm mode. "Welcome! We've heard so much about you." Of course he has. He hasn't even asked me about my week. I'm standing there holding a tray of appetizers when she turns toward me. Our eyes meet, and something changes. Her smile drops. Not in a rude way, more like confusion, like she recognizes something but can't place it. She stares at me for a second too long, and I feel it, that weird tension, like something's about to happen, but you don't know what yet. Dinner starts. Same seating arrangement as always. Tyler near Dad, me at the far end. Basically invisible. Dad starts talking, loud, proud. "This guy right here," he says, clapping Tyler on the shoulder, "just closed another big deal last quarter." Tyler smiles like he's used to it, which he is. Dad keeps going, telling story after story, hyping him up like he's some kind of rock star. Then someone looks at me. "So, what do you do, Tessa?" I open my mouth. "She helps out at a hospital," Dad cuts in. Helps out. I freeze. There it is again. That same sentence. That same dismissal. Madison's head tilts slightly. Helps out? She repeats. Dad nods casually. Yeah, volunteering, that kind of thing. Volunteering. I look down at my plate, because if I look up, I might lose it. Here's the thing. I don't volunteer. Not even close. I'm a licensed pediatric occupational therapist. I work with kids who can't feed themselves, can't hold a pencil, can't walk without help. I spend hours on the floor teaching them how to do the smallest things most people take for granted. I've watched parents cry because their child finally picked up a spoon. I've stayed late, come in early, missed holidays. But in this house, I help out. Madison doesn't let it go. What kind of hospital? She asks. Dad waves it off. Oh, just general stuff. Tyler jumps in quickly, changing the subject. Hey, did I tell you about the fishing trip? And just like that, it's over. My entire life reduced to nothing in under 10 seconds. But Madison, she keeps glancing at me. Not pity, not judgment, something else, like she's putting pieces together. Halfway through dinner, I get up to clear plates. Of course I do. No one else moves. That's just my role. As I'm walking back to the kitchen, I feel it again. Her eyes following me, watching everything. Who serves, who talks, who gets ignored. She's noticing, and for the first time, that scares me more than anything. Because when someone sees it from the outside, it stops being normal. Dessert comes out, coffee gets poured, and right when things settle, Madison sets her cup down, looks directly at me, and says, Tessa, where exactly do you work? The room goes quiet. Not dramatic, just still. I take a breath. Riverside Children's Rehab Center, I say. Her hand freezes mid-air. Riverside? She repeats. Something shifts in her face. Recognition. Real, deep recognition. And then she looks at Tyler. You never told me that. Tyler shrugs, uncomfortable. I mean, I said she works at a hospital. No, she says slowly. You said she volunteers. Silence. Heavy time this time. And then she turns back to me, eyes locked, voice softer now. Do you work with kids? My heart starts pounding. Yeah, I say quietly. She swallows, takes a breath, and then everything changes. The silence on the other end of the line, it was different this time. Not awkward, not confused. It was the kind of silence that happens when someone realizes they've just lost control. Wait, what do you mean? Claire finally said, her voice shaky now. I didn't rush. For once, I wasn't the one trying to fix things. Exactly what I said, I replied calmly. I only help special people. Another pause, longer this time. Then she tried to recover, switching back to that sweet tone she always used when she needed something. Come on, don't be like that, she said softly. You know we didn't mean it like that. You're family. Family. That word used to mean everything to me. Now it just sounded convenient. Really? I said. Because last week I wasn't special enough to be at your wedding. She didn't answer. Because there was no answer. And for the first time in years, I hung up first. That day, something inside me snapped. Not in a broken way, in a waking up kind of way. I sat down at my kitchen table, the same table where I had planned their birthdays, counted money for their rent, worried about their problems, and I grabbed a pen, and I started doing the math, month by month, year by year, every dollar, rent, groceries, furniture, bills, emergencies, little favors. By the time I finished, My hands were shaking, not from weakness, from anger. Over $30,000. Gone. Not invested, not appreciated, just taken. And for what? To be told I wasn't special. I stared at that number for a long time. Then I did something I should have done years ago. I chose myself. The next morning, I walked into my bank, the same bank where I had stood in line countless times, transferring money to Ethan and Claire without hesitation. The manager smiled when he saw me. "Good morning. Usual transfer?" I shook my head. "No," I said. "Actually, I'm canceling everything." He blinked. "Everything?" "Every single automatic payment, effective immediately." He looked surprised, concerned even. "Is everything okay?" For a second, I thought about lying, about saying it was temporary. But no, "I'm finally okay," I said, and I meant it. By the time I got home, my phone was blowing up. Missed calls, texts, voicemails, Ethan, Claire, back to back, non-stop. Funny how fast they noticed when the money stopped. Not when I was hurt, not when I was excluded, but the second the cash flow ended. "Oh, now it's urgent." I didn't answer, not one. That afternoon, they showed up. Unannounced, of course, because boundaries were never really their thing. I opened the door, and there they were. Ethan looked stressed. Claire looked irritated. Not sad, not guilty, just annoyed. "Come on, Mom. What's going on? Why are the payments canceled?" No, "How are you?" No, "Are you okay?" Straight to the money. I folded my arms. What's going on is, I'm done. Claire scoffed. "Done with what?" "With being used," I said, looking her dead in the eye. Ethan sighed, like I was being dramatic. "Come on, Mom, don't start this. We depend on that money." I almost laughed again. Depend. Such an interesting word. "You're 34 years old," I said. "You're married, you have a home, you have 2 working hands. You don't depend on me, you got comfortable using me." That hit. I saw it in his face. Claire stepped in quickly. "This is ridiculous," she snapped. "You can't just cut us off like this. We have bills." And I had feelings. Didn't seem to matter much last week, did it? Silence, again. But this time it was tense, sharp, uncomfortable. Ethan ran his hair through his hair. "Okay, look, the wedding thing, maybe we could have handled it better." Maybe. Maybe. That word lit something in me. "Handled it better?" I repeated. "You didn't just handle it badly, you erased me." Claire crossed her arms. "It was our day. And I'm your mother." That landed heavier than anything else, because it was simple and true. What happened next I didn't expect. Ethan's tone changed, not softer, colder. "Look," he said, "you're overreacting, and honestly, this whole situation is starting to feel unstable." "Unstable?" I stared at him. "Excuse me?" Claire jumped in, her voice smooth again. "We're just worried about you. This sudden change, the anger, it's not like you." And that's when it clicked. This wasn't concern, this was strategy. They weren't trying to fix things, they were trying to control the narrative, paint me as the problem so they could keep the money. I felt it in my chest, that cold, sharp clarity again. "You need to leave," I said quietly. Ethan frowned. "We're not done talking." "I am." Claire's mask slipped for just a second. "You're making a mistake," she said. "No," I replied. "I made mistakes for 3 years. This is a correction."
After they left, the house was quiet again, but it felt different now, lighter, cleaner, like I had finally taken back something that was mine, not just my money, my dignity. Weeks passed. They tried everything: calls, messages, guilt, anger, even fake apologies. But I didn't budge. Because once you see the truth clearly, you can't unsee it. And here's the part nobody tells you: cutting people off doesn't just hurt them, it hurts you, too. There were nights I sat in silence, wondering if I had gone too far, if maybe I should call, if maybe things could go back to how they were. But then I'd remember how it really was, and I'd breathe and let it go. 3 months later, I took a trip, my first real trip in years. No stress, no emergency calls, no one asking for anything. Just me, living. And for the first time in a long time, I felt peace. I heard through the grapevine that Ethan and Claire had to downsize, that both of them picked up extra work, that life got harder. But you know what? That's not cruelty. That's reality. That's what adulthood looks like when someone else stops carrying you. Do I miss my son? Yeah, of course I do. That doesn't just disappear. But I don't miss who he became, and I refuse to fund disrespect. Because here's the truth nobody wants to say out loud. Sometimes the people you love the most are the ones who take the most from you, and the strongest thing you can do is walk away. So if you're listening to this right now and you feel used, unappreciated, invisible, ask yourself one question. Are they in your life because they love you or because they benefit from you? And once you have that answer, don't ignore it. Because peace, self-respect, freedom, yeah, they're worth everything. And trust me, the moment you choose yourself, that's the moment your life actually begins.